Hi, and welcome to another Scale Passion e-interview. Today we're talking to Ryan Cahill of SuccessFactors. I've got to tell you that SuccessFactors is a pretty impressive company. If I'd had them when I was a CEO, I would have definitely run my company in a lot more efficient way. The main thing that they bring to the table is an online service-oriented business that helps you capture your strategy, cascade that strategy down to all employees, and then really manage the number one asset you have, which is your people. Performance reviews, 360 tools, connecting performance back to the strategy, you name it, their tool does it. So I've been very impressed with the tool, and I wanted to bring Ryan Cahill, who's been a friend for quite some time, to you today to talk about the tool and what it might be able to do for passionate CEOs that are growing their businesses. So here's Ryan Cahill. You might be watching part 1, 2, or 3, but all 3 parts are excellent. I think you'll get a lot out of the talk today. Thank you very much. A lot of the CEOs that I'm working with are CEOs that are in transition from kind of the entrepreneur run, hair on fire, to maybe we want to go raise money, or they've raised money and they're starting to do things differently. You see what I mean? And putting in more structure, etc.
Yeah.
The tool that you offer, costs a certain amount. What are you telling the CEOs are the ROIs? How should I evaluate your tool if I'm a CEO thinking about making the investment to help me through this transition?
Yeah.
What do you bring up as the key, the core ROI variables that you should be thinking about, Mr. CEO, when you think about this technology? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that the core ROIs are a combination. I think there's both hard and soft dollars, obviously. The hard dollars are simple automation. As you scale a business, as I'm sure you talked through, is you've got to have best practices, processes in place, not only to do things right, but to do them effectively and efficiently. And so one of the biggest things that the immediate experience is just time savings. And so if you're going through a meeting and you're going through a lot of data, just making that efficient and effective. If you're evaluating people, if you're doing performance reviews, all the stuff that you have to do as an organization, doing that better. So the ROI that we hear consistently across the board is we save 50 to 75% of that time. Now, as a smaller business, a lot of that time, especially when it's around evaluation, is higher executives, if not the CEO. Mm-hmm. So you may be sitting down it's way more expensive. So you need to be focusing on driving the business, not doing those type of tasks, and we can make that really effective and fast. Mm-hmm. Beyond that is retention. If you're growing a company, like you said, from an entrepreneur level, those key talent that you've brought along the way know this thing inside and out. They've been your right-hand men or women that whole time. How do you ensure that as you go through this process, you're making sure that they stay? And so consistently, we experience about a 6 to 7% decrease in retention, and that's focused turnover
yeah.
on
6, 7. I want to make sure I got it right.
Sure.
6 to 7%.
Reduction in turnover
right.
for the top talent.
Yeah.
Obviously, layoffs and so on certainly
sure.
Characterized. But then beyond that, we drive revenue. The end result of our product is we want to drive real business results for our customers. And so the net.
How does your tool drive revenue?
The biggest issue is focusing people on what matter. If you've got an employee and they're spending 8 to 9 hours a day at your office, and they're spending 4 to 5 hours of that time doing things that aren't helping drive revenue, there's an opportunity there.
Right.
And so not only focusing people on what matters most, but focusing on the things that are important to the executive board, not what's important to them.
Right.
And what we see consistently is that employees a lot of times are left on their own to determine their priorities.
Right.
So here are the 3 things I get to work on. I'm going to determine what I do first, and it just can't be that way, especially in this economy.
Right.
So those are the biggest ones, I think. But beyond that, I think what we're able to do is there's a lot of the soft dollars that you can't experience, which is the culture around your business, especially as a growing business. That's huge. And how do you build and construct a culture that supports performance, that supports collaboration, that supports competitiveness. And those things you can't calculate that in hard dollars, but having a tool that effectively helps you collaborate and efficiently communicates across the organization can help instill a lot of that.
Right. Well, what fires me up about the tool is, number one, if I had had the Garden of Life, I would have been a happy camper, because we were creating all these processes. So we were creating performance review processes, we were creating the strategic planning process, we were creating all that from scratch.
Yeah.
So if we had a tool, we could just put in the strategic plan, have it filter down to the right people, and then connect the dots completely from that plan into the performance review process, hallelujah, we would have saved 30% of the time we were focused on those things.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it 100%.